Hi all, welcome back to the /run YouTube channel. In this video, we will see how to create a self-hosted runner from a Docker image and add it to a GitHub repository and use the same Docker container to run your workflows. So this is a RedHat based image which I have downloaded from Docker Hub and I made it as a self-hosted runner. Let's see how to do all these things step by step. To start with, I don't have any images or I don't have any containers running. So I will go and decide which Docker image to use. I'm going to Docker Hub, RedHat images, and search for a latest RedHat image. So why I want RedHat images, there will be situations where I want to run the applications or compile the applications in a RedHat operating system. And if I don't have a RedHat host machine, or I have only Windows machine, or I have Ubuntu, any other version of another flavor of Linux, then I have to go for Docker obviously. So I'm going to download an image which is RedHat UBI9, which is universal base image for RedHat. So let me download this image, Docker pull, and then the image. So while it's downloading the image, we will see what all we need to do in the Docker RedHat repository. So this is my repository. I'm going to create, this is my account and GitHub account. I'm going to create a repository for this specific use case. Let me name it as self-hosted, and let me make it as public and create the repository. Once the repository is created, you will have see these options, and if I go to actions, nothing will be there because I have to create any workflows. When I go to settings, in the settings you will see one tab called actions. In the actions, if I click on runners, you will have option to add new self-hosted runners. So GitHub provides its own runner, but that will have only Ubuntu, Windows, and Mac operating systems. So there won't be any other options like RedHat and all. So that is why if you want to have anything specific on the operating system, that is when we want to go for this option. And when I click on add new self-hosted runner, you will see the list of commands that needs to be executed for each operating system, be it Mac OS or Linux or Windows. I will pick Linux, and if there are a set of commands that we need to run one by one. Let's see if the Docker image is downloaded now. Let me check it by running Docker images, and let me create a container from it. So Docker run, I want to run it in interactive mode, and I want to give it a name. Let's say RedHat, and the image name which I just downloaded, right? This one. So image name. Let me hit enter. So now I'm inside the container, and I want to run everything as a normal user. So I don't want to run it as a root user. So I'm going to create a new user called runner. And let me go into the home folder of runner. Let me switch as runner user. Now I'm into the home folder of runner. Now let's add all these commands one by one. So this is the list of commands that we can run on any host machine, no, even in a VM or in any other laptop or hardware. Okay, any operating system which is Linux based. But now we are going to try everything inside a container so that we can make that container as a self-hosted runner. Okay, that is the idea. Now let's run this command one by one. They are just creating a directory and then downloading a package that will contain the actions package, actions software. Now let me run this the final command that to untar that package whichever I downloaded. Now it is downloading, and with this option, like once we achieve this, what we can do, we can even use this in the Kubernetes cluster, have multiple pods that can act as a self-hosted runner that will serve for that can be used to run any of your CA or CD pipelines through GitHub Actions. So GitHub Actions is a CICD server that is getting very popular these days, and we can run any workflow in that, just like how we run any pipeline in Jenkins. So, we can add self-hosted runners whichever you want. So in the self-hosted runner, we can have all the packages pre-installed, so there won't be any need of installing an additional packages during the execution of the workflow. So let's say now I have this container, and in this container I can install whatever the prerequisites that is needed to compile my application, and then I can use it as a self-hosted runner and do the compilation work that I needed. Now I have extracted the package which I just now downloaded, and these are all the files I can see. Now let's see what is the next command that I have to run. So /configure with a token. Okay, this token may be specific to my GitHub repository. So now it says I'm missing some packages and I have to run install /bin install as root user. So let me switch as root user, come back to this directory, and then run this bin install dependencies. Okay, I need to go inside another folder and then run bin install dependencies. I think it is downloading some packages from the internet and installing it in the RedHat universal base image. So RedHat, it provides the image in a Docker version, so that they call it as universal base image. So now the installation is ready. I mean the dependencies whatever is needed to run this command is ready. Now again let me switch as runner user, go to this specific directory, and then run this config command which I just copied. Now it is doing authentication to my GitHub action, which is this repository, and then now it says connected to GitHub runner registration. Here I can give the name of the runner group I want to add. I keep it as default, and then the name of the runner I want to add. Let me call it as RedHat, and then the additional labels. These labels will be useful when you want to select a specific runner. So by default it gives self-hosted Linux and x64. I'm going to add one additional label called RedHat. Now you can see runner successfully added. Let's come here and see if I can see the runner. I opened it in a new tab. Yes, I can see the RedHat runner which is added, but it is showing us offline. Maybe some more additional steps are still pending. We will see that. So now I can see runner settings. It is asking for the working directory in which when CA pipeline triggers or CD pipeline triggers, what is going to be work directory. I'll keep it as default. Now the final step which I have to run is /run.sh. Let me run that. And now I think this will come to online if this successfully runs. So now it is showing us connected to GitHub. Yeah, it is waiting for, it is telling listening for the jobs. So maybe I will refresh this once and see. Yes, now you can see the status is changed to idle. This is how we add a runner, self-hosted runner to the GitHub Actions. If we are going to do it from VM, we just have to repeat these steps from a VM. As I am doing it from a Docker container, I am doing all these steps, running all these steps in a container. But if you want to automate all of these steps, you can very well create a Docker file in which you can list down all these steps, and then you can create a Docker image and you can just run the Docker image anywhere. So that will add this self-hosted runner automatically. Okay. Now let us test this by creating a GitHub Actions. So to create a GitHub Actions in this repo, currently I don't have any file. Just now I created the repository, right? Let's say simple workflow that I wanted to do. Yeah, it will, I think, yeah, it is giving a sample workflow. Let's change this name to RedHat test. So the workflow will get triggered on push to main branch, and the list of jobs will say test. Okay, then let me select this runs on as RedHat. It can be RedHat or it can be self-hosted, whatever it is. And the steps, I just want to verify it, right? So what I will do, I will run a command that will just cat a file which is in /etc release version, right? So what I will do, I will open one more terminal and exec into the container and get the actual file name which I want to print. Docker ps docker exec -it redhat cat or ls/etc, right? This is the file which I want to echo or print, correct? I'll copy this and then come here and say /etc redhat release, and I will remove all the other steps. Just want to verify whether it is coming to my container and executing this job. That's it. So now let me commit this change and let's see it in action, because on push it should trigger an action in this. So now let's see in the action. Yes, it triggered something, and this is the test job which we want to execute. Starting the job, yes, it is requesting for something. Let's see the log or something here. Yeah, here you can see running job test. So the request came to the container which is running in my laptop from GitHub Actions, and I think it is done with the job also. Now let us see what is the output. Here you can see RedHat Enterprise Linux Sound 9.0. Let us see the same file here to make sure it ran in my container only. Let me do a cat. Yeah, it's the same file. So now the job, here also you can see the message succeeded, the job completed successfully. In this way, you can run you can run any, you can add a container, you can start a container and then add it as a self-hosted runner in your GitHub action, and from your GitHub action you can run any CI or CD pipeline that will get executed in a container. If you don't want to run it in a container, just repeat the steps in a host machine like VM or in your laptop to add it as a self-hosted runner to the in the GitHub Actions. Yeah, thanks for watching.